The Podsters, episode 30.
Welcome back, Podsters.
Our podcast is turning grown up, I guess.
Yeah, it's number 30. The big 3-0.
So is it time for it to move out of the house or start doing some chores around here? Because I'm kind of getting tired of laundry and cleaning and everything.
Podsters needs to start paying some rent.
Right?
And we have two lovely guests in here, Penny and Kingsley.
Yep, and congratulations, Penny. She's been with us here for 3 years.
3 years. It's been a lovely 3 years with Penny here.
For sure. And even longer with Kingsley.
She's an awesome dog, and she's a pit bull, and she's the best dog ever. The most gentle dog ever.
Yeah, we're talking about you.
And she's very smart. And she totally does not define the stigma of what pit bulls are.
No, but that's don't get me started on that. It's such a sad stereotype that comes from media to begin with. Before the pit bull, it was the Rottweiler. Before that, it was the Doberman. And before that, it was the German Shepherd. I guess every generation needs that scary dog.
And at one point, like a long time ago, pit bulls were actually used to kind of keep after the kids.
Yeah.
They looked after kids very well. And in fact, Penny's really good with kids.
Yeah, it's genetic. It's inherent in them.
Yeah.
They tend to be really good and loving with kids.
And all I have to say is it's a matter of how you train the dog, raise the dog, treat the dog, you know?
Oh, it's all about that. The two worst dogs I've ever encountered, and I worked with aggressive dogs, was a lab, which tends to be the like stereotypical family dog.
Yeah.
It was a lab that they got, and I guess it was a puppy and play nipped at their little kid. Mm-hmm. They freaked out and basically kicked it out, left it to be an outdoors dog, and that was the vilest, vicious dog I've ever met.
Oh, that's so sad.
But it's a lab. That's my point. You can turn any dog into a monster, and you can turn any quote-unquote monster dog into a lap dog. It's all about how you raise them.
Yeah.
They're not for everyone. They take time and experience to get to be well-mannered, but
all I have to say is that if you're thinking about getting a dog, be responsible about it. You have to take care of the dog like it's a member of your family.
Yes. Since we've been on that topic before, I mean, people get kids and can't take care of them. To get a dog, if you want to be responsible, it's as much work.
Don't get me started on that.
No, but it's as much work to take care of a dog as it is a kid, and the dog stays a kid its whole lifetime.
Right. Exactly. So, I totally agree with you.
So skip that whole Disney bullshit of you have to get a dog because you have a white picket fence and then just leave it out in your backyard. It won't turn into a good dog regardless of breed.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Please be responsible.
Please be responsible. And go adopt a dog from the shelters. And treat it right. I mean, that dog will be your best friend if you treat it right and love it like it was your own family member.
Oh yeah, look at Kingsley. He'd go to me from hell and back.
Yeah. Kingsley's your little shadow.
Yes, he's my little spirit animal.
And that's enough on our puppy dogs, because I could talk about them forever. They're amazing. And I highly recommend, if you are ready and know that you have to be responsible for a dog, then by all means do it.
Yes. They are a joy.
Yes. And they will be your best friend forever, and they will love you forever.
For sure.
Yes.
But when it comes to the Podsters, I do think it's time that you grow up and start helping around the house. And for you guys out there, don't forget, we have a Facebook page where you can reach us, give us suggestions, feedback, comment on our episodes, and more.
Not only that, we do have an email address.
Yes, we're in the 21st century.
Exactly. And if you don't feel like posting your comments publicly, you can always send us an email.
At thepodsters with a Z at gmail.com.
That's podsters@gmail.com. Thepodsters@gmail.com.
Thepodsters@gmail.com.
Come on, guys. We need your feedback. We need your comments. We want to know what you want us to discuss. Just so it's not a one-sided conversation on our part. We want to make this an interactive podcast.
Even if you don't agree with us, please let us know.
Yeah, definitely let us know if you don't agree with what we have to say.
For sure.
By all means, I am welcome to constructive criticism. Or any kind of criticism.
I can even take a troll or two just for the fun of it.
I would love to have a troll.
Right?
I want a troll.
Go Trump.
Is that bad of me to want a troll?
No. I think they're kind of cute. Oh, you meant one of those trolls. No, I wouldn't mind one of those either. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun to go back and forth and have some banter.
Yep. Come on, guys.
Let us know what you're thinking. I know you have some comments and issues with what we have to say. I mean, because not everybody agrees with what we have to say. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. If everybody agreed with us, the world would look a whole lot better.
Definitely.
So, what's on your mind?
Well, I've been watching the news and stuff like that, as I always do. And this one thing that really bothered me is that they are, well, it doesn't bother me, but I'm just kind of questioning the whole process of vetting Kavanaugh for Supreme Court, as a Supreme Court nominee.
Shouldn't they be vetting them?
Well, they are vetting him.
Uh-huh.
And they're vetting them really well. In fact, you know, that one person came forward and said that she was raped or whatnot by Kavanaugh in high school. I mean, that's how far back they go.
Yeah, and here's the thing with that, and we've been talking about it before. The Me Too movement per se isn't bad, but all this digging up shit that's 40 years old because you were so afraid. Keep being afraid or do something. Don't bring it. It's
and I've
too
said
far
it many
back.
times before, is that if and when something happens to you, God forbid, if and when something like that happens to someone,
then report it.
I would hope that they would report it right away and not sit on it for years until that person, you know, actually, you know, comes out in some way or shape or form that they're going to hold, you know, a public office or they're...
Yeah, I don't know. And honestly, to me, call me old-fashioned, I guess. To me, that's suspicious, too. This guy has been doing a lot of things in his life after high school.
Especially in politics, nonetheless.
And nothing has been said. All of a sudden, he's up for Supreme Court and people step forward. I find that a little... Honestly, it's hard to believe.
What exactly? I kind of feel that way too, but this person that's come forward has requested that there be an FBI investigation, and they're treating it like, I don't know, more as a casual incident than anything else.
But if it's casual incident, why would the FBI investigate it?
Well, see, that's their, I think that's their way of getting away with not having an FBI investigation.
I don't know. I just think the whole thing is weird. And what's strange to me too is that apparently we have a president that's had extramarital affairs with hookers and porn stars and has been peed on.
Grabbing women by the
pussy. Yeah, you grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, and that's not cool.
No,
I mean, any kind of like unwanted sexual advances is not cool whatsoever.
Right, but what's weird is that who vetted him on all this, and how could he become president with people knowing all this when a guy that's up for Supreme Court is somehow gonna stand public trial at least for something that happened 40 years ago,
30 years ago, or something that.
however long ago. It's weird.
Yeah, but that does bother me in the sense that they're vetting this guy. I mean, they're combing his life through and through to make sure that he is an appropriate candidate or representative of the Supreme Court.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that a presidential term is 4 years, and if people don't like it, they can get rid of him? I mean, you just elect someone else.
I
and
have
Supreme
a feeling.
Court is
I
lifetime?
have a feeling. Yeah, I have a feeling that is the issue. There is that a Supreme Court justice, the term is lifetime for them,
right?
As opposed to the president, when it's a 4-year term. Or possibly 8 years, but hey, 4 to 8 years, we can get rid of them and move on with somebody else. I don't know, but I honestly think that the United States needs to reevaluate how they either vote or vet their candidates for presidency.
Oh, for sure.
I think they should go through whatever the Supreme Court justice nominee is going through.
Well, that.
And
but I
if they have any kind of scratch on their record, by all means, get them out of there, because we don't need that.
No, for sure. But I think that whole electoral system is very old-fashioned.
I mean, because I have to say that Kavanaugh is a pretty good nominee, considering who he is and what he's done and his career in politics. We should vet our presidents a little bit closer than we do our Supreme Court justices. I mean, come on.
I think it should be
like
the
a
same.
double standard.
Oh, of course it is. But I think the whole way of how and who can become president is old-fashioned, because honestly, just because you have money doesn't mean you have good ideas.
Right.
Since it takes X amount of $1 million to even get to run for president.
Yeah, that's just really sad.
So I mean, the whole plus the whole electoral college, when people, and that's what
that
gets me.
That needs to be reevaluated by the.
If it's a true democracy, that means that one vote for someone is one vote.
Right.
It's not really democracy when you say, well, that's one vote, but then we have a more important vote, and yours doesn't count.
And that is the representative of your area or whatever.
Yeah, because, the representatives know. Here we're back with what we talked about last week, when I said all these, like, military and police and people in some sort of power position use that position when they're being jerks. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a police officer, so... Well, you're still an asshole. And it's kind of the same with this, that here they go over everybody's head saying that, well, but your representatives knows better than you. No, they don't.
Yeah.
So I think the whole political representation system should be looked over.
Yeah.
But it is weird to me how you can become president just by having money and people liking you or whatever, and have been a complete
and when you
jerk.
Have Russia on your side,
right?
Just kidding. Kidding. I don't know. There's been no. You know what I mean?
No, he said he didn't, so he probably didn't.
Yeah, exactly. We should.
Let's take his word for that.
Let's just take his word. Exactly.
But then let's vet a guy that's going up for Supreme Court for months and weeks and years upon end.
And then they're even looking at the fact that he drank in high school and how bad was his drinking.
Yeah, that's really important. 30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago. But all I have to say is that you never know where life will take you, and if you end up in a position where you will be under a microscope at some point, you better believe that whatever skeletons you have in your closet will come out.
Apparently so.
So just saying, live your life right, and life will treat you right. That's a good way to live, I guess.
Sounds like it.
Well, I would hope so, at least. So, yeah, that's just my little qualm, I guess, against this whole double standards that the U.S. is I guess holding up.
Yeah, and if anybody out there know why or think they know why, please let us know, because we can't wrap our heads around it.
Yeah. And so by that, let's just go on to something a little bit more lighthearted, I guess.
What's that?
Okay, so my bullshit of the week is going to be on the whole fashion industry.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
There's a new coat out there, apparently.
Uh-huh.
It's like a 7-layered coat or something like that. I don't, quote me on it. I may be wrong, but it's 7 layers plus or something. I don't know. It's a coat that looks like you have like a hoodie on, and you've got a sweater on, you got a jacket and a pea coat or whatnot.
So you're basically looking like a homeless person.
Right.
Cool.
And guess how much this coat costs? And don't quote me on it.
Too much?
Way too much. I can't remember how much they wanted for it. It could have been anywhere from $800 to $1,500.
Yeah, let's just say it's not a Walmart jacket.
No, not exactly. And I'm like, why?
I don't get it.
Why would you pay that much money to look like you're fucking homeless?
What's funny, though, is that there's a bunch of idiots out there, the sheep out there,
yeah,
that will pay that amount of money to get to look like they're homeless.
Unfortunately, there are people out there like that.
You know it. It's the same with any sort of dumb fashion. Last year, what did we have then? The stormtrooper bitches?
Oh, yeah. And that's a continual fashion that I think will not die.
I hope it would. But
unfortunately, I mean,
there is a new Han Solo movie out now, isn't it?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's why the fashion won't die.
The Han Solo fan club who wears riding boots with ill-fitted spandex or jeggings or tight.
Even better is when they think that their jeans are skinny jeans and they're not.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on those vests.
Oh, I mean, come on. All I have to say is that...
Or pink polos on men.
Fashion is great. I love wearing different types of clothes and stuff like that. I would have to say that, I have some sense of fashionable taste, I guess.
Well, I don't think it's fashion. I would say that you have a very good sense of style. Because fashion doesn't really mean that something looks good.
No, not exactly.
What's that other one that came out now? Which I think, I don't think it might become a trend.
I saw a clip from a fashion runway thing where it was like this coat that wraps around your head and your body, not your body, but like, it's a coat, okay? And it looks like a bunch of scarves and a bunch of material just wrapped around you. And I'm like...
So you mean that you're looking like a mixture of Steven Tyler and a terrorist?
Even worse. It's worse. It looks like somebody just wrapped a bunch of scarves around someone. And that's supposed to be fashionable?
Yeah, but
it looks like a crazy person wearing a bunch of rags. That's all it really looks like. And I don't see this, I guess, logic in wearing something like that unless you want to look like that.
Unless crazy homeless is a new fashion.
And then again, there's probably not a bunch of logic when it comes to fashion, because I think fashion is more of like an artistic... It's more of like, you're...
Having done like sound and stuff for like runway fashion stuff, I think that not all of it is really meant to become, whatchamacallit, like streetwear or a trend.
Like
a lot of it has to do with the designer's more artistic sides, if you so want.
Yes,
I mean, just like, and you can laugh about it, but it's really the same with, what's it called? Like, painted art.
Yeah.
Sometimes the new modern isn't anything more than some sort of expression from the artist. And I think sometimes the fashion, when it comes to runway fashion, is more of the artistic expression of the designer.
Right. Yeah.
It's not really meant to be worn.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. And it just wasn't coming to me. But yes, thank you.
You're welcome. But in terms of what hits the streets, come on, people. There's a huge difference between fashion and style. Just because something is in doesn't mean that it looks good.
Right. It doesn't mean that it would look good on you.
So stop being sheeps. Get your own style and get with that instead of just looking at what the latest fashion trend is.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of times you guys and girls look fairly stupid when you just cling on to the latest fad.
Yeah, and I've said this many, many times before. Just because if it doesn't mean it looks good on you.
Amen.
So, we were talking at dinner today, and you were talking about how businesses or corporate companies don't listen
To their customers.
Yes.
Yes. I guess it has to do with the whole, we've been on these rants before about corporations and keeping the shareholders happy and stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the simplest thing they can do to maximize their profits is really to listen to their customers within reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it lately has been striking me how bad a lot of these corporations are at it. And of course, this week I got a great case in point, which is for those of you who follow us and you like our little musical segments and stuff. As you guys know, and for the rest of you that maybe not know, one of the world's biggest guitar manufacturing companies, Gibson, they filed for bankruptcy this year. And they got away with getting a Chapter 11, which means that they don't have to close any doors, but they have to restructure their whole company. And as a part of this restructure, their CEO has to leave the company sometime next year.
Okay.
Anyways, the reason Gibson failed wasn't their guitar department. The guitar department of theirs has been really what Gibson is about for people.
Right.
They make guitars. But then over the past couple of, 20, 30 years, they've been acquiring other companies and they've been doing a lot of dumb, unnecessary research and development. And that has led them to bleed money. And with this whole Chapter 11, they basically had to sell off anything that hasn't been profitable. And also, like I said, get rid of their CEO by next year. Now, the important thing with Gibson and Gibson not listening is that basically their guitar model, the Les Paul, what has been popular for the past 60 years. Basically, anybody that wants a Gibson, that's what they want.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And the 2 years, 1958 and 59, are like the model epitome for a Gibson lover to own. And even to the point where in the 60s they didn't make Les Pauls. They just made a different model called the SG, and the demand was so high to bring the Les Paul back that in the late 60s they had to start making them again. It's so simple if you listen, and here's the big thing with what I'm saying, corporations that don't listen to their customers. Basically, for the past 60 years, their customers have said, we want the guitars you made back in 1959. We want the colors, we want the sound, we want everything like that. It would be so easy for them. I mean, think about it. All the tooling, all the everything is there. All you have to do is make the same tool to make the guitar again. Right? It's different than, let's say, if you start with a car company, someone will say, well, now I want this car to go faster. Now I want the car to not rust. Now I want luxury interior. Now I want Bluetooth. These companies have to get with the public to develop and be creative and try to keep up.
Yeah, keep up. Keep up is the key word, is to keep up with your consumers.
Right. And in Gibson's case, it's so easy because they don't have to change shit.
Right.
They can stick with something they've done for 60 years. Well, anyways, this year, what they did right was they went from this whole let's manufacture and sell 10% more than the last quarter. They've gone into a more let's make a reasonable amount of guitars, get them out there. To each manufacturer basically tells them this is how much we think we can sell for you, and they manufacture based on that. That's good, right?
Right.
That means they're not overproducing, oversaturating, or anything. But they didn't listen to their customers. The colors for this year are crazy blue and green and weird bursts. with translucent little knobs and stuff that
Translucent knobs?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how well that would look on a guitar.
It doesn't look good at all. They're horrible nightmare examples of things. And I think this will kill Gibson again. So I'm wondering if this is the CEO's his last fuck you to the company.
His spiteful inventions so that they hurts the company.
I don't know. Or is it, because I was thinking about it first, and then I was like, no, but there's a whole board of directors and board of this that could vote him out. And it just tells you how out of touch big corporations are with their consumers.
Yeah. Because, I mean, all I have to say is that all these CEOs and bigwigs and stuff like that really lose touch of the main, I guess, commodity, which is your customers. Right,
but it's so crazy when you can start a poll anywhere saying, what would you like your Gibson Les Paul to be? And you're going to get like a 95% saying, I would like a 1959 Les Paul. The company just have to mass produce the same crap they've been doing for 60 years and everybody would be happy. Instead, they once again spent a bunch of money in research, because you have to do that to see what colors will last, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And now they're bashing out stuff that nobody wants. The secondhand market loves it.
Of course. Yeah.
All these Gibsons made before 2018 pretty much doubled in sell price overnight.
Yeah. I don't know if everybody realizes how much companies make off of used product. I mean, because for the most part, they buy it back for like super cheap.
Right.
I mean, you can sell like $2,000 guitar to any kind of music shop that sells used guitars, and they'll buy it for like $500 off of you. And then they'll go turn around and sell it for like $1,500.
Right. But that money doesn't go to Gibson, the manufacturer. That goes to the company that sells them.
Exactly.
So Gibson is losing out all this money because they didn't listen. And I just don't understand when companies act like this. Mm-hmm. It's not a secret that nobody hasn't been yelling across the rooftops, we want 59s, and instead these douchebags go and create seafoam green monsters now that nobody's gonna want to buy.
Yeah.
And
well, maybe they're marketing towards millennials.
But the problem is that no, but here's the thing. I mean, I like your thinking, for sure. But here's the thing. If you're a millennial liking that kind of instrument, Gibson in the first place isn't for you. You have other brands. If we're gonna name drop a bit, you could Charvel and Chapman. They make those guitars for that market.
Okay.
And they're cheaper than a Gibson. So if you're a millennial liking seafoam green crazy stuff,
well, what if millennials like Gibsons? So they're gonna have to.
But they don't. I mean, it's so tried and true.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, because here's the thing. I've seen the sales drops for Gibson. And I've never seen the secondhand guitar market literally overnight double in value.
Yeah.
Which means that even the millennials that like Gibson wants a Gibson to look like a Gibson. The equivalent would be like if Ferrari lovers, they don't want to buy a Ferrari Momobile. They still want the Ferrari sports car. There's certain brands that you can't develop and make profitable because they're so iconic in what they're doing that change is just silly. And I mean, this goes to other companies too that we shouldn't mention on air, maybe, because it's bad enough if Gibson sues us for this. but please, I mean, come on, guys.
Nobody's listening to us, so I don't think Gibson will. They'll just be like, yeah, y'all are amateurs.
Right. But the problem is that there's so many companies that do this, and I don't understand when it became some sort of mandatory thing that become completely out of touch with your consumers just because you advance in a company. Mm-hmm. CEOs, if there's anybody out there listening, get in touch. Get back to the people that buy stuff from you. See what they want. Don't sit there and power trip and just make what you want.
Oh, I hate to be devil's advocate, but, you know, some consumers are really dumb and they just go along with whatever, you know, these companies put out.
True.
So,
but I think
unfortunately, sometimes I think they weigh out they just outweigh the more, I guess, logical thinking of serious consumers for the product.
Sometimes for sure, but I think in terms of this, or when it comes to specialized products, the specialists are the ones buying it, and when you piss the specialists off, it's hard to get them back.
True.
And it goes for anything, you know, that there's certain professions where you can't just blindly follow along. And I think you guys need to stop doing what you want and listen to your consumers if you want this to last. I'm just bummed because I thought Chapter 11 for Gibson would really be something good.
Yeah.
And instead, it's like they just flushed that 11 down the drain.
Yeah, I just I don't know.
It's just so sad when you see people and companies get second chances and all they do is like flush them.
Flush it down the toilet.
Yes. With that, guys, don't flush your second chance down the drain. Live a happy, good, nice life if you ever plan on becoming something big where you get vetted.
Right.
And if you're responsible, get a dog. And don't forget to get in touch with us. Until next time, guys.
Oh, and happy first day of fall, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Happy first day of fall.
And until next time.
Ciao, ciao.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.